Well, how are you feeling after that match? I really want to know because I felt just a roller coaster from being frustrated in the first half to the second half come back and feeling like Roma could almost win that match. Oh, just a true roller coaster up and down today. And Roma does back. They claw their way back to a 1-1 and almost actually score another goal. And this has been such a tricky stadium for them to play inside in Torino. But we've got a little bit to talk about right now in this post-match. We're going over Mourinho's comments as well as some thoughts, the substitutions, what maybe the formations could look like in the future. So let's hop into it first. Let's do the interview right away. There we go. Mourinho, you're blocking me, bro. Come on. All right. There we are. He's asked his first question, what did you say to Max Allegri after the game? He said, I don't think I can say the exact words. He said, of course you can. And he says, they handed us our asses in the first half, but in the second half, we were a little bit better. Then question, what did you say to the squad after the first half? He said, I felt embarrassed for them, embarrassed to be their coach. Strong words. Interviewer asks, the attitude seemed very different in the second half. Replies, absolutely. The question is why it was like that in the second half, but not in the first. We are not talking about the tactics, but about the attitude. We cannot come here with this sort of attitude. I was telling Foti, the assistant manager on the bench, that we should pray the first half finishes 1-0. I told the players to take advantage of that good fortune to still be in the game even after that. Sometimes you can be a bit overrun, but even then you can manage the game a bit, and we didn't even manage that. It was pure luck. It was 1-0 at the break. We didn't have many options off the bench. There was no Zaniolo, no Vinaldum, or another player that I think might be arriving soon. Belotti. With those three, maybe things could have been different. Max, even with all his problems, could bring on players like Milik and McKennie. If we take the first and second halves in isolation, and then in the second half we deserve to win 1-0. But I don't want to say that we deserve the result tonight, because that would be giving my side credit that they don't really warrant after that first half performance. Ooh. Then asks, you conceded early and struggled in the build-up, but the defense looked comfortable overall. Yes, it was tough for me to take off Mancini because, in my opinion, the three center-backs were all victims of some horrible play from the wide players and central midfielders. We kept making mistakes even after we conceded. It was a horrible first half. I am happy with the second half. They were well set up tactically, but we did well. It's an important point for us, Mourinho adds, and as I've said, it's no bad thing to avoid defeat after a first half like that. Zaniolo is a big loss for a game like this. He has the strength to find ways in behind, but I think that we will be without him for another 3 weeks. Second to last question. The team seems to be on the right path, but needs to make sure it forces the opposition up to up their game. He replies, I agree. That's why I'm trying to be as honest as possible. I could have come here and told you that we changed things in the second half and we were amazing, but I don't want to do that, and I won't hide that. This game was a bit like the one at the San Siro last season against Inter, and we needed to improve in that regard. We are waiting for important players to join us, not just on the bench, and to change matches, but to provide competition in roles too. That happened today with the fullbacks. Last season, Karsdorp was the only one, but this season there is Selic to come in if he's not okay. The same goes for Spinazzola. In midfield and up front, it's harder in big games, and I was worried about the impact of yellow cards. This point is not bad for us. Last comment here. Tammy Abraham celebrated a lot at the end of the game. He said, I like that the players celebrate, that they understand how difficult it is and the value the result has. Everyone knows that the first half was not what we are capable of. Maybe he celebrated because it's important for us, and it meant it'd be nicer to them in the changing room afterwards. So a lot to unpack here. We got some comments coming in from Giallorosso USA. Juve wasn't good. Roma was so bad in the first half that made Juventus look good. So let's hit upon that here. It was not a good Juventus. And, of course, they played their best match, though, in the past 18 months, we could say. Of course, against Roma today. The best one we've seen in the absence of some of their star players, as well as Roma's. Got a counter reply to that from Chena. He says, hey, Giallorossi, I was worried to lose the game and Juventus' fans wouldn't leave you alone because of the way you've been trolling them. So we've got some banter going on, apparently, here. So let's go through the kind of play-by-play here, some subs. Let's read this off. Got a little stat sheet here. Injuries heading into this match, people, was Di Maria, Chiesa, and Pogba, as well as Bonucci for Juventus. And for Roma, of course, it was Zaniolo and Wijnaldum. Juve's form coming into this was 1 win and 1 draw. I felt like Roma were really going to do a bit better given how flat Juventus looked against Sampdoria last week. Roma's form, they were, of course, they won their first 2 of the season. You know that. I know that. The game plan, it's hard to assess what was Mourinho's game plan, exactly what was he trying to do, because as soon as that goal comes in, right, guys, it just throws everything out the window. It's like that old saying, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the nose, and that's for sure what happened today, and we see that. I'm going to change the little graphic here. There we go. There's the boys of the hour. So that just totally disrupts things, and Roma end up chasing for the rest of the half. They can't get in it. The chemistry is just not there. They're playing like that they were up, and Juventus just kept trying to make goal-scoring opportunities, and of course, the scoreline goes to 2-0 for 1 minute, and that was a heck of a shot, and at that point, Roma should have immediately replied. I thought at the 1-0 that Roma was going to just, something would turn up and they would really control it and possess the ball and make more opportunities. But we didn't see that. So as Mourinho just mentioned in the press conference we went over, a lot of this is just down to attitude. And it's got to be a little different. Jenna says, in the first half from the beginning, our players seemed scared. Maybe there's something to say for that mentality, that big game, if they're just not there yet. It seemed to me so strange how Karsdorp just switched off, how Cristante did not want to run. I thought Matic was, maybe today wasn't his best showing, but that's because he needs a faster center mid next to him. We'll get to the starting formation in a second, though. You know what? Let's do it now. I'll say it. I didn't like that Mourinho put Matic with Cristante. I thought that it should have been Matic and Pellegrini, and then El Shaarawy. I didn't see any problem with El Shaarawy starting this match. And I think that Roma would have been better off ultimately. So let's go back to that Mourinho quote there at the bottom. We'll get back to the important players in a second. So Roma chased the game for the rest of the first half. And in the second half, Mourinho converts to the 4 at the back, subbing Mancini for El Shaarawy, and then Spinazzola for Zalewski. And a little bit later on, Selic for Karsdorp. And it really changes the way that this team plays. As I just mentioned, I thought El Shaarawy should have been a starter. Rabiot then goes out to injury for Zakaria. Allegri puts on Milik, who I didn't even realize had already joined Juventus. That was some quick business. For Moretti, who I thought that was a bad choice because Moretti was having a heck of a game. He's an interesting player sliding in between those lines, Moretti. I believe he's from Juventus' Primavera. Where were we? With those subs, Mourinho changes to 4 at the back with Selic, Smalling, Ibanez, and Zalewski. Juventus were getting in between the outside center backs and the wing backs, and that's just it was causing all types of problems with Kostic and Cuadrado getting the better of Spinazzola for very much, big parts of the match, and that was creating just a lot of problems. I see comments keep coming in. Okay. Michele says, love Moo's honesty and tough halftime medicine, but for the last 3 games, our defensive line has been so low, leaving huge gaps and forcing Pellegrini and Dybala back. It's true. It's true. When that defense has been low, and this to me, I still have question marks over why Mourinho did not request someone like Torreira, a true defensive midfielder. I don't really understand because I feel like somebody like that would protect the ball a bit better, but I'm sure that we'll find that out in due time when these tactics get a little bit more ironed out. Michele says, to run a ton and getting the ball really far from goal. Up to Chena says, Karsdorp, Tube, El Shaarawy, Zalewski, and Selic were solid. I agree on that. They did look solid and definitely changed the dynamic of this team for 45 minutes. But back to Michele's comment, getting the ball really far from the goal. Yeah, it's a problem, that disconnect. But I hope that gets figured out soon. And the turnaround is so quick. In that Monza is already on Tuesday. We got a Juventus fan. We got Javi. It says, I'm a Juve fan. Good game, bro. Yes, good game to you as well, I will say. It was a really good fight, I thought, from both. So let's talk about the bad before we talk about the good. The bad. Game plan goes out the window due to an unlucky early goal. Incredible goal by Vlahovic there. And the concentration seemed off with certain players making mistakes. Not enough goal-scoring opportunities. Not clean and escaping pressure. I really think this team needs to improve on how they work out from the back. I saw a lot of triangles that were attempted that were just sloppy and in the air, and that made it so much harder for the rest of the team to get out of pressure, which is not where Dybala shines. Michele, what are you referring to? I thought the midfield was slow with Matic and Cristante, not implementing itself, getting outran, just out-athletic. That's not a word. Roma had just one big chance created the whole match, but Juventus actually had 0 with an expected goal, the XG, below 1. So Juventus did not create, but if you're going to really compare, then Roma did a little bit better statistically, but I'm not sure how much stock I put in that. The good. Roma changed in the second half. They showed a real will to win. They almost did. The tactical shift helped the team add stability. Zalewski, he was really unpredictable and hard for Juventus to deal with. He kept taking his man down the line. And at one point or another, I think Zalewski's going to be the starter at the left wing back role. Salik offered a defensive presence. Was really glad to see him take over from Karsdorp, who had such a tough game. The team fights back, almost get that goal. And there is something to say about this relationship between Tammy Abraham and Paulo Dybala at this point. So, oh my gosh, Dybala, you're massive. Let me get back on screen. Okay, I'll try to sneak in here. This is weird. Okay, so that relationship is forming, and that should be a really good thing for Romanisti throughout this season. Some stats on the defense. Tackles won, 7 for Roma, 11 for Juventus. So Juventus getting a bit more tackles, but here is where the major differences are in interceptions. Roma 18, Juve 6. Blocks, Roma 3, Juve 2. Clearances, Roma 27 and Juve 13. So big differences going on there. I'm going to take the screen back. Let's get some comments in here. What do we got? At least we didn't get a point. Giallorossi says, at least we got a point, and we didn't let Juve get 2 points at the end. And it's true. And big picture, right? Now Juventus has to go to the Stadio Olimpico. And now Roma does not let an opponent, a direct opponent for this season, get way too far ahead in that race for fourth. Let's keep, objectives clear here. By the way, last time we played a horrific first half but got a draw in Torino was in 2001. Just saying. Michele, wow, with that fact. I like that. That's a great one. So I'm going to read that again. Last time we played a horrific first half but got a draw in Torino was in 2001. You got some memory. Good for you. Chena says, should Zalewski... Chena, let me know if I'm saying your name the right way, or if it's not Italian. Should Zalewski and El Shaarawy and Salik start the next game against Monza? I haven't seen Monza play. I'm not sure if they're going to be the quintessential promotion team that just tries to hang on and doesn't attack, because we thought that maybe that would be Cremonese, but it wasn't the case. Or at least that's the stereotype, right? But it depends on Monza's tactics. I think that if Monza comes out and does sit back, then Salik should start. I think that would be a really good pick. Let him get that time in. And if you keep working Karsdorp, a guy who puts on a lot of mileage, then you risk injuries. El Shaarawy, to me, he should get the start. Cristante should take the bench for sure. Hello, Jose Mourinho. So glad to have you here. I'm glad you took time out of your busy schedule in Rome Cena, like John Cena. Very good. Guys, keep the comments coming. Got some more banners here. Oh, look at this. We're getting really fancy. Back to this one. They handed us our asses in the first half, but in the second half, we were a little bit better. One of the comments earlier said we have to appreciate Mourinho's honesty, and I totally do, because it's unacceptable for that first half to have gone by. If a manager had come out and said excuses and made excuses and blamed the referee and pointed fingers externally rather than internally, I think that would have been a big problem. But Mourinho has such a way of seeing things for what they truly are and seeing past the BS. And for me, a lifelong Roma fan, I really appreciate that, because there's no alibis with him. You can't escape the truth, and it just wasn't good enough. I actually thought the referee was fine today. Like, there was, is he perfect? No, but fine to me is acceptable, especially in Serie A. So, a lot to think about, but fortunately, we won't have too much time to think with Monza just around the corner. We've got a couple minutes left here, so keep the comments coming. I'm going to ramble for a little bit more. Belotti. So it looks like that's pretty much confirmed. On yesterday's preview for Juventus, I mentioned that Belotti's medical would have been today, and that seems to have been true, if we're to believe all the outlets, and it does seem accurate. So he'll come in. That's great. Looks like Felix goes out. Now I'm also hearing that Diawara could join Lecce. That would be another massive shaving. That would be like having the worst beard that just scratches your face and then oops, I broke my microphone. And then completely just getting it off. And it's so important to just get the wage structure in line and make sure that this team is financially healthy. Jose says the players are not made for top four. I would disagree, to be honest with you, man. I think that top four players are there. Look at Roma's attack. Look at the defense. And it's unfortunate that Wijnaldum went out. But there is definitely solutions. And I think one of those is just Pellegrini going back with alongside Matic. And then Cristante rotating. Bove, who looks a really exciting player. I think that he can be someone who gets valuable minutes here. So I really think that Roma does have the players for a top four team. It's just a matter of giving them a little bit of time and gelling together. Giallorossi says, from now on, we play every 3 days. Don't we need one more center back and at least one midfielder? I have a feeling Roma does turn to the Mercato with Wijnaldum out. This player from Greece that they're mentioning, Kamara, interesting. He looks to be a unit of a player. Strong, can pick out the pass. So that's intriguing. Coming over from, I believe, Olympiacos. Michele says, Tammy, huge goal to get him going for sure. And what better way than to do it against one of the top clubs, right? You get a goal at Juventus Stadium. That's very good. Very good for exactly what you just mentioned, to get him going, get his confidence, get him in the flow of things, right? Because sometimes the hardest goal is the first one. So, guys, give the page a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for joining. Of course, I'll be back for a preview from Monza. I'm really glad and appreciated that so many people joined this live just now. Jenna says, I disagree. Last season we got 0 points from Juve, but this season we just won, and I think that we can beat them at the Olimpico. But this season we just got 1. Oh yeah. So we've got some different opinions here for sure, and that's good. So I think so too. You come and you want to see this team in March. I think that they could definitely beat Juventus. Of course, they should have Di Maria back and Pogba and their stars and whatever, but we'll see what's going on. Love the channel from Michele from San Francisco. Keep rocking. Thanks, man. Oh, San Fran. I just had some Ghirardelli chocolate a couple days ago, straight from San Francisco. What's wrong, Javi? What's going on? Anyway, hope, what, did I use all my overlays? I think so. We got that one, right? Yeah, we got the Mourinho. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you soon.